Hey folks, I thought I would do as part 5 of this series a little bit more complicated fight. This one including a new rule that's in Dragons Down Natives and Legends, which is the ability to hire a um, a native to work on your behalf. So in this case, we'll have a black knight, a dwarf black knight to be specific, and a rogue facing off against 5 goblins, including the Goblin King. So let's go ahead and do this fight. The first step of combat, when there are more than one possible target, is to roll the dice to determine who each of these monsters targets. So on a 1, 2, 3, it'll go against the Black Knight, and on a 4, 5, 6, it will go after the rogue. So let's roll for the first Goblin Battler. They're going, they are independently choosing to target the rogue. The Goblin Peltist is targeting the rogue. The Goblin King is coming after me. The Goblin Peltist is coming after me. And finally, the final Goblin Battler is going after our rogue. Okay, the next step is the targeting step, and for the Black Knight, I will select the Goblin King. For the Rogue, I just grab any, in this case, I've just grabbed any, spare targeting token to represent, or, if it's usually easy enough to remember, but in this case, I think going after this first Goblin Battler is the right way to go. Okay, the next step is to set tactics, hero tactics. Now, in this particular scenario, I have um, taken the alert action during the phase, during the action phase, which means that this Black Knight can now place 6 of these cubes. You'll note that the mace requires 2 of them, so I place those 2. I now have 4 left. As I look at this Goblin King, it has an attack speed of 1 and a maneuver speed of 2. That's great. I probably can take this Goblin King out before it even gets a chance to attack me. And you'll note that the Goblin Peltist, as long as they don't change tactics, doesn't even attack. So these two aren't a threat unless they change tactics. So let's place our cubes. As such, we'll put 1 in maneuver just in case I don't succeed for some reason. At the same time as I do my hero tactics, I choose the tactics for my hired native. I can place them on either side. Now on this side, they attack fairly fast with a 2, but they maneuver very slow with a 0, which means that these two would hit and likely damage or kill. Now, in this, the other thing that's worth noting before I flip this back over is this would do 3 damage against an unarmored target and 2 damage against an armored target. If you don't understand that concept, you can watch one of the previous videos in this series. This Goblin Battler that I'm targeting is not armored, the heart symbol, versus the armor symbol on the Goblin King. So there's no reason to play on this side, especially since I have the same attack speed on this side and a bit of maneuver speed. This will do 2 damage against the Goblin Battler if it should hit. Okay, so let's roll for each one of these to see if they flip over. Let's start with the Goblin King, and they do not. Let's do the Goblin Peltist. They do not. The Goblin Battler, they do not. The Goblin Peltist targeting the Rogue, they do not. And the Goblin Battler does not. That was literally a perfect roll for us because the backside of all of these tokens would have been worse for us. The next thing we do that I always do is I always organize these in order of attack. And so here we have this Goblin Battler goes before this non-attacking Goblin Peltist. He doesn't have his sling ready to go. My attack speed is 3. The Rogue 8 is speed 2. So our two attacks are going to be the first ones. So I compare my attack speed of 3 to the maneuver speed of the target, the Goblin King of 2. That's an automatic hit doing 2 damage. Note that there are no swords on the mace, so the armor does not impact my attack. The Goblin King is killed, and I receive 10 fame. Okay, next up is Rogue 8's attack against this Goblin Battler. You'll notice the again attack speed of 2 comparing to a maneuver speed of 2 is not an automatic hit. We are required to roll the hit dice, and we do hit. This does 1-2 damage against an unarmored target, killing the Goblin Battler. All kills done by a hired native go to the hero that has hired that particular native. So in this case, I receive the 7 fame for killing this Goblin Battler. Okay, next we're going to do their attacks. You'll notice the Peltis, they have a dash, which is no attack, but this Goblin Battler does target my rogue. We're going to roll these dice to see if they hit. Again, it's an attack speed of 1 against a maneuver speed of 1. We are hoping for a blank here, and we don't get it. We get a hit if equal. The amount of damage that this Goblin Battler does is 2 plus 1 for the sword, so 3, minus 1 for the armor, 2 damage. That kills Rogue 8. Anytime a hired native is killed, the hiring hero loses that much fame. So Rogue 8 is killed out of the game, and I'm now facing these rogues myself. Won't need that anymore. I'm going to target the Rogue Battler, and I'm going to continue down this path. It might be worth taking a look at the flip side. He attacks a little bit faster, but even with my 3, I will guaranteed kill this Goblin Battler if I play my cubes this way. The Goblin Peltis, on the other hand, will hit me, but you'll note that they are very weak. They're just throwing rocks at me. Given that I have a shield and or chainmail, I'm not too worried about it. So I'm going to go for the kill. I'm targeting this monster with 3 cubes in my attack speed. Let's roll the die to see if the Goblin Battler flips over. He does not. Does the first Goblin Peltist flip over? He does. And does the second one? Does not. So one of these Goblin Peltists attacks very quickly and is doing some damage. Okay, so attack speed order. This is now attack speed 3, and my attack speed is 3. So we go to the tiebreaker. My attack length is 2, and the attack length here is 34. And let's just pull that up so that you can see that a little bit better. So this Goblin Peltist actually goes first. Again, I like to order these anytime that happens, anytime somebody changes tactics, in attack speed order, so I can just go 1 attack, 2 attack, 3 attack. I go right in here, kind of in between. So now we just know the attack order. This attack speed 3 is faster than my 1, so it does hit, doing 1, 2, but because I have chainmail and shield, it's minus 1. It cancels that sword. So it's attack speed 1, and because that's a ranged attack, we have to roll the ranged attack dice. So let's go ahead and roll those to see the impact on the damage. And here's the beauty of armor against somebody using a sling. It's 1 damage minus 2. That's a terrible roll. It plinks off my helm on my chainmail, resulting in 0. Now, I was hit, but the damage is actually minus 1. Well, anything below 1 doesn't matter. It doesn't cause me to take a wound. Next is my attack. 1, 2, 3 versus 2. I'm faster than the goblin battler. Using my mace, I kill this goblin battler. And we are now back to 17 fame. Okay, I'm going to target the guy that's moving slower versus faster. And the reason I am is that one is attacking. So I'm going to leave my cubes as they are. I don't care um, about about getting hit because I think my armor is going to do great for me. Now we roll to see if they flip. Let's check the first peltist. He does flip. And let's check the second peltist. Does not. Okay, so they're not even attacking this round. Let's look at my attack speed 3 versus a maneuver speed of 4. That is not an automatic hit anymore. I was hoping that this guy wouldn't flip over. We roll the dice and I miss. They are not attacking. So that is now one round where nothing has died or has taken a wound. In this case, we go to the next round, which should be round 4, I believe. We're in round 4, and but with one action where we didn't have any wounds or deaths. I'm going to target the same goblin, and I'm going to leave my cubes as they are. I like this attack method. We roll the dice. That peltist does not flip. The other peltist does not flip. Okay, again, attack speed 3, maneuver speed 4. That's not an automatic hit. Let's roll these dice. And boy, do I get lucky here. Because if I hadn't rolled this hit, if I had rolled, a miss, or if I had rolled a hit if equal, both of those would have resulted in misses, and combat would have ended. We would have returned my token and the 2 surviving monsters back to the clearing where we were. But in this case, I rolled 2 hits. I kill this goblin peltist, and I receive another 4 fame. That also resets the counter for the end of combat back to 0. So we will have at least 2 more rounds of combat, assuming nobody dies or is wounded. Okay, I like this. I'm just a statue sitting here, and when I say that, that's my personal phrase for when I'm not really maneuvering much at all. So I'm just sitting here with my mace trying to whack this peltist as he runs around the clearing. Does the peltist flip? He does. So I am going to hit and kill him, but again, due to attack length, the peltist goes first. Attack speed 3, maneuver speed 1. That's an automatic hit. We go straight to rolling these dice, and that does 2 damage. Okay, so again, I have a choice. I could say I'm using my shield, but that would damage it because the attack of 2 equals the shield's durability. So I will take it on the chainmail. That is not strong enough to damage it, but it does cause a wound. I can choose any one of these cubes, including the hearts, to move down to the wounded box. The final step in this combat is my 3 speed attack against 1 for the peltist is enough to kill the peltist, giving me 4 more fame. So you can see how that rogue, though they didn't give me a lot of value for many rounds, took 3 of the monsters off of me on that initial round of combat. They were able to take out one of the goblins. And imagine you saw in the previous video, part 4, that the melee fighter actually died because he just got hit too many times by these various monsters, and taking on 4 monsters really worked out poorly in the end for that hero. In this particular case, having a hired native that could soak up a hit and frankly 3 attacks for 1 round allowed me to even the odds and leverage my armor. Oh, and this actually wasn't wounded, sorry, I was just marking that it got hit. Um, You'll notice that this resulted in my hero being able to take out this slew of goblins and earn me 25 fame points. So that was just a simple example of how natives hired by you with you in combat can greatly aid you in your endeavors. Okay, thanks everybody.